Think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios. What a move! Here's Josh Hennig.
Friday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. And we got the first football weekend without Eagles on Sunday. Yes. So think about this. No Eagles on Sunday. How are you doing your weekend? Because the Eagles are Monday. You know, you got to wait all the way till then to get that. So how are you going to handle that? What are you doing this weekend? What are you watching this weekend? We'll get into all of that throughout the show. Fantasy football talk and NFL weekend preview with Andy McNamara coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you can join the conversation. You can text the show at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. We'll get to the latest NFL news, but I want to get to last night first because last night turned out to be, frankly, very interesting. Now, listen, I will confess off the top, we went 1-1 on the picks last night. I thought the game would go over, didn't get there. Thought the Chargers would cover, Chargers covered. So it wasn't all a lost cause in terms of the picks last night. But I told you guys going into last night that I was really looking forward to that game. I really wanted to see what would happen. And, well, frankly, what happened was half the people who wanted to watch the game couldn't watch it, and the rest of us were able to figure it out, or, like for me, go to a local establishment, okay? I made the comment to somebody last night. I have been saying for months, if you are a local bar or restaurant and you want to cater to sports fans, this was an opportunity for you to do so. And a lot of places didn't. Now, I understand that some places, they didn't know how to. Okay, that was one issue. And they fell into the same category with a lot of other people out there. But the bigger problem last night wasn't if you could or couldn't get the game. I think the bigger problem was last night was an amazing example, if you're on social media, of how there are literally people out there who they don't know how technically efficient or inefficient they are. So you have a situation where, for me, I just avoided the whole problem altogether. I just went out to a local place and watched the game. There were a lot of people that had problems. And I think this is, as I told you guys months ago, and I have a shout out to the texter who texted Mike earlier repeating that I said this months ago. People are going to start making choices. What streaming apps do they want to pay for? What platforms do they want to pay for? If you have, for example, Xfinity, you can get Amazon Prime through the platform, but you got to pay the price for it. If you got a Roku or a Sling TV, you're still paying for Amazon, even though that service has a function to carry it. Got a smart TV, Amazon goes to the smart TV. And I noticed that there were a bunch of people last night who were really trying to get the game. And I already see the message that came in on 609-403-0973. They said, Amazon Prime for me was awful. Audio would sound before the play even stopped. The announcers would be talking, the lists weren't moving. The picture was blurry 25% of the time. I was at my house in the Villas, is where I streamed it on TV. And I think that's really going to be the rub moving forward. Everyone wants to move into the next level of the world, which is streaming platforms. But the problem is that internet access and logistics and infrastructure is not the same everywhere. So, listen, if you're someone who's want to pay for Amazon or you're someone who had trouble last night, I I can't say I'm surprised because guess what? I wasn't even at home watching it myself. That's how intent I was to try to avoid technical issues. Even though where I was last night, one TV had the game about 5-10 seconds ahead of the other TV, which that was actually pretty funny a couple times. It actually worked out when I wanted a faster replay of something I saw, like that whole Justin Herbert thing. And I'm going to get to that real quick here. Fractured rib cartilage. So he's day to day. The reports are the Chargers are going to evaluate him next Wednesday to see how he's doing. So the good news is it's a 10-day gap between Thursday Night Football and next time the Chargers play. But I think you got to give Justin Herbert a ton of credit last night. People forget that this was like the forgotten guy a couple of years ago in the draft. You know, for all the talk about Tua Tagovailoa and all the hype around Joe Burrow winning the national championship with LSU, Herbert became the guy that people just kind of shoulder shrugged about. And the Chargers are very fortunate that the two best quarterbacks in that draft are going to not be named Tua Tagovailoa. And the Chargers ended up with one of them. I think Justin Herbert showcased last night not just toughness and leadership, but this dude literally made a couple throws last night that made you look around and say, how did he do that? He's playing with busted up ribs. You knew he was hurt. You saw him just grimacing on the field, and that guy gutted it through. If the Chargers don't get to a Super Bowl in the next few years with Justin Herbert, then that franchise needs to be ripped away from the Spanos family and given to somebody else. That dude is special. And I understand the Chargers lost last night. But part of the reason why they lost last night was because of the fact that we got to give the Chiefs some credit. We assumed, me included, people on television, all the analysts assumed that last night was going to be a high-scoring game because there were injuries on the Chiefs' defense. And the Chiefs' defense actually did a better job than a lot of people expected. The guy who replaced Trent McDuffie last night, Watson, he had the interception return for a touchdown. I got to give the Chiefs a lot of credit for that win last night. I am not taking anything away from Justin Herbert. He didn't lose that game. And by the way, that interception was not all his fault either. Everett, I don't care if you're tired or not. Run the route. Don't be a lazy bum, okay? That dude literally cost his team a game last night because he was, quote unquote, too tired to run the route properly. But I'm so glad I got to see the game last night. It was absolutely wild. Absolutely crazy watching that game last night, and I'm glad I got to see it. Of course, you heard the game right here on 97.3 ESPN FM last night. Looking ahead to the weekend, injuries are becoming a storyline, whether we like it or not. And for the Eagles, they're not playing on Sunday. And one of the things that naturally is a part of the conversation is the reality that if you're an Eagles fan, you're going to keep an eye on the other NFC East teams. I'm really curious to see what the teams in this division do. Washington's going to Detroit. I tend to think that's going to be a very interesting game because I think they're very evenly matched teams. It's the two top picks from the 2016 NFL draft, Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. And you could argue at this point in their careers, they're not that dissimilar in terms of talent and ability and execution. Both Goff and Wentz threw interceptions last week. They'll probably throw interceptions again this week. So the question comes down to who's going to pull out that game in the end. And it's two old school coaches, Ron Rivera, Dan Campbell. I'm looking forward to that game. I think that might be one of the highlights of my weekend I want to watch because I want to see what happens when a better than usual Detroit team takes on a Washington team that won in the last moments of the game the week before. And by the way, that game's in Detroit. That's going to be 2 straight home games for Detroit to start the season. And I wouldn't put it past them if they win that game. If they win that game, Washington goes to 1-1. And then some questions start lingering for Washington because Washington's schedule, they don't have the easiest schedule in the world. People are assuming Detroit's going to be easy. You look at the next few weeks. They got Philadelphia after Detroit. Then they got Dallas. That should probably be a win if Dak Prescott's not back, but it's in Dallas, so you never know. I think Tennessee is going to have things figured out by then. They're just not a great team, but I think they can make things difficult for Washington. And considering Chicago won week 1, who knows what that team is? Oh, and by the way, I deal with Aaron Rodgers by October 23rd, Matt Ryan October 30th, and then the Vikings after that, and then Monday Night Football versus the Eagles. So guess what? Washington, if you don't win this game, it's not easy sledding from here on out. And how about them Giants? No, not how about them Cowboys? Cowboys are a dumpster fire. They're going to lose. I guarantee it. But the Giants versus the Panthers, I think, is very intriguing because what if the Giants start 2-0 this year? I'm not going to dismiss the reality that the Panthers could lose this game. It's in New York. If the Giants start 2-0, it's the first time since 2016 that they have started a year 2-0. This is a very interesting fork in the road game for both these teams. Panthers are a team that I thought could make the postseason. Well, they were very inconsistent last week. If they can find some rhythm this week, do they win the game or does it not matter? Are the Giants potentially a better team? And if the Giants start the year 2-0 and the Cowboys start the year 0-2, how does that conversation go? You know, all the Cowboy fans, all the anonymous Cowboy fans who would text in and DM Mike Gill and myself, they have been quiet. And guess what? They're going to continue to be quiet if they start 0-2 and the Giants start 2-0. Because after that, guess who the Cowboys play? They play the Giants. So that means the Giants can start 3-0. How's that conversation going to go for all the Cowboy fans? Look, the Eagles will walk around and be like, hey, at least we won week 1. We're trying to win week 2. We're at home on Monday Night Football against the Vikings. If the Giants start the year 3-0 and lead the division, how does that change the conversation that we're having about the NFC East as we head down the stretch? And don't forget, the Eagles don't see the Giants until December. The Giants don't see Washington until December. So the majority of the Giants' schedule is not even in the division. Now, it doesn't get that much easier. They got Green Bay, they got Baltimore. It's not an easy schedule explicitly, but they do have some teams that they could definitely beat. And if they could beat Carolina this week, yeah, I'm intrigued. Josh Hennig here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And hey, listen, with the college football tomorrow, busy NFL on Sunday, and the Eagles on Monday, I got the place for you. You can watch all the football action, and you can bet on it all weekend long over at FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's right off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Bet, watch, and win all season long and enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. So just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's right off the boardwalk in Atlantic City to get in all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or to play and present in New Jersey to bet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. More NFL talk and fantasy football talk on the other side with Andy McNamara. He joins us each week to talk NFL here on Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle.
Touchdown Radio is off to the plains of Auburn, Alabama this Saturday. 2-0 Auburn hosts 2-0 Penn State at 3:30 Eastern. The Nittany Lions shut down Ohio last week. Auburn had a slow start against San Jose State, but now the Tigers have their first true test of the season. Join me, Gino Torretta, and JP Shadrick for Penn State at Auburn, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on this Touchdown Radio station.
It's College Football Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins after Game 1 of our triple header.
Hey, Birds fans, Boardwalk Honda is kicking off the season with great savings on your next vehicle. Shop and save on our new all-star lineup, including your favorite new Honda models. Right now, get 1.9% APR financing for 48 months on a new 2022 Honda Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline. Stop in and tackle these deals today. Visit us in Egg Harbor Township or online at BoardwalkHonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Okay, everyone gather around. I have some exciting.
Running her shoe factory, Kendra talks the talk and walks the walk.
We're switching to green energy.
She needs a biotech consultant to erase her carbon footprint.
All operations will net zero emissions.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hear ye, hear ye. Thanks for coming to the town square. First, I'd like to tell you about Steve. He's a plumber. I hear he does good work. Also, Tim. He's this new thing called a dentist. Oh, and Monica, she has a new vegan restaurant. I didn't even know that was a thing yet. Anyway, if you need those things, just wander around town and try to find them because the internet hasn't been invented yet, so I don't know.
This isn't the olden days. Now, word of mouth has gone online. At Town Square, South Jersey, we can show you how to harness the power of your existing word of mouth and amplify it online. Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free local customer analysis, where you can see how many local customers in South Jersey you could reach online. Visit townsquarelocal.com and be the Town Square today. That's townsquarelocal.com.
I would go on stage and I almost felt like what I was doing didn't make sense to people.
Every legend has a story.
I had really crippling anxiety from when I was easily 7 years old.
Introducing Words and Music, the groundbreaking series from Audible that blends in-depth memoir with exclusive performances.
My name is Annie Clark. I record and perform as St. Vincent.
This is Beck, and these are my words and music.
Hear the stories behind their songs.
Somehow on its own, it just got on the radio and it went straight to #1.
The experiences that shape them.
I feel like I'm in a dream where I'm in 8th grade and I haven't studied for the science test.
Their music and their stories.
We did the record in 2 weeks, pretty much recorded a song a day.
Unfiltered and unscripted.
A great song is a magic trick, is a sleight of hand. You know, it's supposed to look effortless. It's supposed to be effortless.
Hear these iconic artists and more. Listen to Words and Music, an Audible original series. Go to audible.com/wordsandmusic and download the app today.
Rezzle is the world's #1 virtual reality sports trainer. Whatever your team, your sport, your ability, improve your game and train like a pro. Rezzle. Reactions, performance, accuracy, stamina, resilience. Train at home in the Rezzle Sports and Fitness VR training arena. Search Rezzle, REZZIL. Harder, stronger, smarter. The world's #1 virtual reality sports trainer. Available now on MetaQuest.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. An oil change with quality oil like Castrol Edge Full Synthetic can help your engine get more out of every tank. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Listen up, South Jersey football fans. Are you interested in solar? Want a free roof? EMT Solar and Roofing has you covered. Visit ESPNsolar.com to see if your home qualifies for a free roof with solar installation. Don't wait, act now. Start saving thousands and virtually extinguish your electric bill. ESPNSolar.com is the place to go for your roofing or solar needs. No commitments, no hidden fees. Go to ESPNSolar.com to see if you qualify.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night, hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Let's get back into the football conversation. I told you guys, it's an interesting weekend because no Eagles on Sunday. So, fantasy football players, this is your segment. Each week, Andy McNamara joins us to talk NFL, fantasy football, all of that and more right here, right now, with the man himself, Andy McNamara, here on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, welcome back. How you doing?
Good, Josh. How are you, buddy?
I wore this shirt just for you.
Oh, there you go. I like it. I like it. Little Jameson Eagle. Dig it. I dig it. Let's go.
I know you're a whiskey guy. So
that's right. Absolutely.
I got this shirt for free, full disclosure. So
hey, so those are some of the best shirts. I got mine for free too. There you go. Perfect. It's perfect. Hey,
yeah, but you probably have about 20 UFF shirts by now. So
well, you know what? Not as many Baker Mayfield shirts as UFF shirts, but close. Close.
We will get to Baker in a bit, but I got to ask you about last night first. First of all, now it was on Amazon. You're in Canada. Did you have any problems getting the game?
Oh, wonderfully no. It was because in Canada we have the Bell has the NFL rights. So I got to watch it on normal TV. I saw it social. I can't watch it. I was watching it like normal. No problem for me. But yeah, I heard there were some issues and you know, it wasn't necessarily the best experience for a lot of people. But for me, it was business as usual.
Yeah, I was over in Marmora yesterday's Creekside Tavern. They had, now the only problem there was one TV was faster than the other TV by about maybe a few seconds. So a lot of times you're looking one way watching the game, and if you want the instant replay, you spin around and look at the other TV.
So you got into a system, you got into a pattern, right?
You get into a rhythm, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're in the booth. They got the screen to the side, they got the field. It's virtual reality. It's your own metaverse right there.
So watching Justin Herbert last night, I mean, did you have flashbacks to Matthew Stafford like over a decade ago like I did?
Right. You know what? I didn't even think of it. I didn't even think of the Stafford thing, but those hits, that hit, and thank goodness reported that it's now I'm not a
cartilage
doctor, so
injury. Yes.
Yeah, cartilage fracture, which I guess isn't the same as a broken rib, or
Correct.
It is, or yeah.
No, it's not. It's so the way it works is people who are smarter than me have explained it this way.
Okay.
So the cartilage is what's in between the ribs.
Okay.
So he didn't break the rib itself. He damaged what was in between the ribs. So smarter people than me have explained it that way.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess what that means is he'll be wearing a flak jacket and trying not to be hit as much, right? And get it up. That's terrifying with Justin Herbert. The season we're expecting, how much he is obviously needed in that division, right? Like this AFC West early on has already gotten really interesting because we saw Russell Wilson and the Broncos blow it. We saw Justin Herbert get his ribs hurt. Like this is starting to be very interesting early on how this might shake out, because obviously you lose Justin Herbert, you just write the Chargers off right there. You're not going anywhere without Justin Herbert.
If Justin Herbert can't play next week, because he's day-to-day right now, they're saying they're going to reevaluate him next Wednesday. Fantasy football owners who drafted Justin Herbert probably in the 3rd or 4th or 5th round, what are you recommending to them?
Panic. It's over. No, I'm just kidding. Close your computer, throw it away. Don't look at your phone. You're done. We'll see you next April. That's it. No, listen, you're not replacing Justin Herbert. Obviously, that's not happening. However, And I was in a position where I have Dak Prescott on a couple of my fantasy teams, including our own, Josh, the one I'm in with you at the 97.3 league. So I had to make decisions myself. So while Dak Prescott is not at the Justin Herbert level, obviously, real life or fantasy-wise, I still had to make a decision. What was I going to do at quarterback? So what I did, I went and got myself some Carson Wentz. Okay, Eagles fans know him. And look at the week one. Certainly not perfect, but he threw for 4 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions, put up over 300 yards, and you're playing the Detroit Lions again this week, who are at least, gamers this year, but certainly beatable. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We still have to see if Carson Wentz can be a playmaker and stay healthy for a consistent stretch of time. But I like the pickup of Carson Wentz. I was considering as well Jameis Winston, but now he's sort of banged up. And if you got, I don't think Kirk Cousins, in one of my leagues, Kirk Cousins is still available, but he's 88% owned in most leagues. So if he's there, grab him. But otherwise, Carson Wentz, as crazy as it sounds, might be your best bet.
And is that more of like, in your mind, a streaming thing than like hanging? Because most people like myself, we draft 2 quarterbacks, right? So is that more of a, hey, for 1 week, Wentz can benefit you if the guy that you have on your bench is your backup, you don't like your matchup?
Yeah, and that's a great point, Josh. Really depends on the strategy you take with your fantasy football team. Now, I'm like you. For me, I always draft 2. However, I wasn't in love with, I had Trevor Lawrence as my backup. I think he's going to do well as the season goes on. I don't think he's ready to put in my lineup yet. So that's why I went out and I got a Carson Wentz. So if you like your backup, and that's the strategy I employ. That's why I always say, look, get a guy. Last year I went Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. Worked out tremendously. Get a guy, maybe even a Justin Fields, somebody who you feel that you can go. But the draft is over. That doesn't help you right now. You should have listened to us. But if you didn't, Carson Wentz can be a streamer, and I hope that Justin Herbert gets better.
Andy McNamara joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at AndyMC81. It's where you can follow him on Twitter. He is the head of football for UFF Sports. Andy, let's get to some of the games this Sunday. I'm only starting with them. And we just lost Andy there. I think I still have Andy's audio.
Oh,
so
yeah, it says the connection to my camera has been knocked out. Okay,
I've been severed.
Been severed. It's the I don't even know who did. Is it the Baker? It's Baker. I don't know. At least
now we just have an avatar for you right now. So
a headless gray avatar. There you perfect. Good enough.
Well, while you work on why your camera just suddenly disconnected, which is probably in that settings bar at the bottom of your screen there. Maybe you got to reconnect something. I don't know, but I'll set up the question for you.
Okay.
I'm only bringing up the Cowboys because no Dak, no Gallup, no McGovern. So when Andy McNamara, who joins us here each week here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday. Andy, when you look at the Cowboys, are you scared to even play CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz?
Those two, absolutely, I am. And we know why. You got Cooper Rush, and you just listed off a whole bunch of situations there. So I am very tentative to play them. However, I do feel that in a case where you have a backup quarterback, and when you are in this type of situation and you have a backup quarterback like a Cooper Rush, and even, heck, if you're in LA with the Chargers and you have to go to a Chase Daniel, you're in the situation where get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quick and don't do anything to screw it up to lose the game. Let the defense try to win and plod your way and lean on the running backs. I think this is going to be a big fantasy day for Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I would put Pollard in the flex this week. I think you're going to have to go to him more often as well. You play Zeke. I'm very bullish on both of these guys for the reasons of you're not going to be able to have those dynamic plays to CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz still could be a chain mover, and Cooper Rush might go that way, but the easiest, safest way. Now we know who the head coach is, so logic and reason might not prevail. But logic says get the ball out of your hand quickly. The fastest route to do that, get it to your running backs.
Of course, folks, you hear Bengals versus Cowboys this Sunday. Kickoff at 4:25 right here on 97.3 ESPN, part of our triple header of football action this Sunday. Staying in the NFC East, you mentioned Washington, so we already know about Wentz.
Yeah.
But I think this Washington-Detroit game could be high scoring. So this situation where, like me, do you feel like this is a all hands on deck skill players for Washington at Detroit?
You know what? I do, but
that was a heavy sigh there.
Well, the reason I hesitate is because I'm just trying to think of which ones we want to go with, and are we believing in Curtis Samuel? That was a great opener. We've been waiting. How long, Josh? Doesn't it feel like we've been waiting Curtis Samuel's whole career to talk about Curtis Samuel like this? Right? He's ready. He's gonna do.
Right.
Last week he did. Okay. So is that a one-off? You certainly have a great opponent to have an encore with Detroit, but I'm very interested in Logan Thomas. And I picked him up off of waivers in one of my leagues, but we know what he can do when he's healthy. The question, of course, is now he worked his way back a little bit last week, which we like, looked good. How is he going to blend with Carson Wentz, new quarterback, and all that? So I like Logan Thomas. If you're feeling a little squirrely and you want to take a chance to get him in the lineup, Antonio Gibson, tremendous, picked up the ball, and he went with it. He's been just trashed all off season, and now you know what? I thought he did a tremendous job. So I think you go with your guys, Antonio Gibson. I like, I personally am going to stay away from Curtis Samuel. I'm just not a believer yet, Josh. I'm not. So in like a DFS lineup, I'm not. If I'm on my team, I'll put him in a flex. I just want to see it prove a little bit more with that. And you know what, for Terry McLaurin, like that was kind of weird. I would err on the side of the talent of Scary Terry bouncing back, and maybe Samuel coming back down to earth a bit.
The first game of our triple header on Sunday on 97.3 ESPN is going to be Tampa versus New Orleans. Now, historically, the last few years, Brady and the Saints defense haven't mixed that well. Brady, no Chris Godwin. He's been ruled out. Julio Jones, big game. What are you doing with Tampa's talent this Sunday?
Well, yeah. So, Godwin's out there. And so now we look at the big question to me, and it impacts this game big time, is what is going to be the condition of Mike Evans. Now, he's listed still as questionable. It is being deemed a minor calf injury. That was as of Wednesday, and he's worked his way back. But, okay, he didn't participate. Is that cautious? We're going to have to track this. If Mike Evans is cleared to go, I'm playing Mike Evans. I don't care about the coverage of Lattimore. I'm playing Mike Evans. Julio Jones. Oh, Josh, I just cannot have full confidence in Julio Jones since we saw last year, nice game this week. It's just really scary. If Evans is out or it shows he's still like sort of questionable game time decision, I would play him. And you know what? I'd go back to Tom Brady, man. I would. Not a great fantasy game at all, but they were so in week one, but they were on top, so he didn't really have to be. What do we know about Brady, right? He likes to find chips on his shoulder and then punch them off. Well, you just said it. Doesn't play well in New Orleans. I bet you Tom Brady knows that. I bet you Tom Brady's hearing that. I think that dude is going to have a big fantasy game, and I would bet on Tom Brady and really track that Evans. I'm only playing Julio Jones if Mike Evans has a Q beside his name before kickoff.
Yeah, currently Mike Evans is listed as questionable. Leonard Fournette is listed as questionable. Russell Gage is listed as questionable. Even Julio Jones is listed as questionable. Now, he did practice. But
of course he is.
It feels like the entire, by the way, Brashard Perryman is listed as questionable. So I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
You know what? This is going to be one of those ones where you got to be Sunday morning, cup of coffee you're sipping, you're seeing what the updates are. And you're checking that out. And then really with the injury front too, Josh, on the other side, you look at the Saints, Alvin Kamara is still questionable. That's been going all week. That's freaking me out because I got him. And Jameis Winston's a little banged up. He's expected to play. Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry looked tremendous. But what is Alvin Kamara? And of course, Josh, of course, who is the guy? Who is the guy? Who is the spoiler? Who is the vulture? Who is the fantasy Grinch? Taysom Hill. Oh, he's back
That's
again,
your boy.
Josh. He's back again. The infuriating Taysom Hill. Why? He's always there. He's always ruining fantasy football. So you know what? I don't know what the heck to know. If Jameis Winston's playing it, maybe Taysom gets a couple shots at the end. I don't know. Drives me nuts. Taysom Hill. Get out of here.
My favorite quote actually is this week from Jameis. When they asked him after the game how he was doing, like what hurts, he said, everything hurts. He's like, and he said, and it doesn't matter because we won the game. Like, I'm sorry, but like for me, I think that's a big moment for Jameis. That's a big maturity moment for him to just be like, I hurt, but I don't care. We came out here, we won the game. Like, it's just nice to see Jameis have a little more maturity and stop sticking fingers in his mouth.
He's not eating dubs anymore.
No.
He's not eating dubs. Yeah. I'm totally with you. And this again, if he's healthy, now you look, Jameis Winston got 21.66 fantasy points last week. Now that catches my attention here because we saw an in-between Jameis Winston. We didn't see 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 400 yards. We also didn't see from last year the 183-yard nothing. We saw 2 touchdowns, no picks, 269 yards. So if he's healthy, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this Jameis Winston, and that's somebody we're talking about streaming quarterbacks. I'm not ready to do it yet because of the health, but he's got my attention. I clicked that little star to keep an eye on him.
You mentioned streaming. We're not going to heavy preview Monday night, but there are 2 games on Monday night this week. Who are the guys who are playing for Buffalo, Tennessee, Minnesota, and Philadelphia that are not named Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, that you're saying, don't fret, just wait for Monday night, play these guys?
Josh, fantastic question, because this, especially when you have like a doubleheader. So we have 4 teams, and if any of these guys are on your fantasy team, and let's say there's question marks, whatever, if you guess wrong, you're going to be without a roster spot. That's dangerous. So you got to be tracking that before your Sunday game. Make sure, follow the beat report. Make sure you're checking. Is the health, is everything okay? So if I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, who am I waiting on, looking at, and feeling confident with? Listen, with the Eagles, boy, how about that A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts stack? How about that? Fantastic. We heard finally something out of preseason and like training camp matters, right? Where it's like, they're getting along great. There's great chemistry. And then he goes for over 100 yards. It's like, oh, okay, that actually worked. That's terrific. We know, like you said, we know Justin Jefferson. I'm still a KJ Osborne believer, and I still think that's somebody who, I'm not saying bench a star, but if you got him and you're wondering, and it's sort of an in-between with somebody, I still believe in KJ Osborne. And for the Bills, man, like, I'm not betting against Gabe Davis anymore, man. Like, that didn't look like a fluke to me. They've had a long layoff too, picked up right where he left off. I think you got to have Gabe Davis in every lineup that you have possible, because the number 2 to Stephon Diggs, he's looking real good.
Andy McNamara, before I let you go, I have a non-fantasy football question for you.
Okay.
So I've taken the position this week, out of just complete rage and spite, that I am declaring that I will not pay attention to completion percentage until they fix it. Here's why. To me, I think that we need to take drop passes out of the attempts and completions ratio. Like how you do with baseball. If a batter gets walked or hit by a pitch, you're not demeriting against him when it comes to his batting average. So why are we demeriting against Aaron Rodgers, for example, that guys are dropping passes right in their hands? Or, for example, for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts had at least 3 drops that I remember, and 2 of them are right in the hands of Noah Togiai and Devonta Smith. Why are we demeriting that against Jalen Hurts? I believe that completion percentage has become a fraudulent stat until we start counting drop passes against the receiver, put on his stat line, and not against the quarterback.
You know what, Josh? I like that a lot. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I like that a lot. And the reason is you get people, social media, of course, and all that. They don't watch the game to take a look at the box score.
Right.
It's like, well, look at that. So, well, did you see? Was that the quarterback's fault? Was it right in his hands? Like, I don't know, Christian Watson dropping a touchdown that would have been on every highlight reel in the country.
Yep.
Or like you said, with Jalen Hurts. I think that makes a ton of sense. And I guess the only thing you'd have to have is some sort of, okay, like what is a drop pass that is the quarterback's fault to the receiver? Like, is it a drop pass in quotations where it goes off the end of the guy's finger and he was outstretched and it would have been an insane catch? Or is it an absolute gimme and the dude, like we saw Austin Eckler last night? It was a quick out, just dropped it. It was right to him. I think that's a terrific point. And if you have that, then you can even compare them maybe to, right? Have a sort of a side-by-side real completion percentage or something like that. Because, yeah, Jalen Hurts' performance, you look at it, 18 for 32, no touchdowns, no interceptions. You think, oh, he didn't have a good passing day. He did. And he ran well. And I thought he played smart. Like I saw a mature mental level to Jalen Hurts' game, a step forward that we were looking for coming into this year. Is he reading defenses better? Is he taking that mental step forward? I think in game one, he did. Now, against the Lions, granted, but right. Lions are going to be a tough out this year. You got Dan Campbell getting them all riled up. They're not going to win a lot of games, I don't think, but they're going to be a tough out. So I'm with you on the completion percentage. And just for a Jalen Hurts thing, again, I'll code a bet for that guy any day of the week. And I think he's just going to keep getting better. And we saw the first step at that process that we've been talking about all off season. Can Jalen Hurts be the real future franchise QB of the Eagles? Step one was taken in week one.
I just want to remind folks that Geno Smith has an 82.1 completion percentage. Daniel Jones, 81% completion percentage. Andy, here are the quarterbacks who are under 60% right now. You ready?
Okay.
Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. By the way, Dak Prescott, 48.3%.
Boom. Yeah, like if anyone's going right by completion percentage and you say you want Geno Smith over, well, any of those players, even an injured Dak, I'd say, yeah, sure. I'll sell you something, right? Like it's ridiculous. Geno,
you're selling swampland in Florida, Andy.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. Don't worry, it won't sink at all. No, like Geno Smith, I'm glad he got his little moment. He got his little quote and all that. That it's good for him. He's not a good NFL.
I want that T-shirt though.
It sounds cool. Great catchphrase. I love it. I'm like, all right, Geno. Seattle's going nowhere. You have Geno Smith as your starting quarterback because you want to pick a rookie quarterback near the top of the draft. That's why you have Geno Smith. And Geno Smith isn't even losing correctly for Seattle. So, yeah, I would take any of those QBs over Geno Smith for a season. That's for damn sure.
Listen, if nothing else, Geno has a future as a mic man in AEW or WWE. Yeah.
That's
right. That's for sure. I don't know.
Run
I don't know
stable.
if he can wrestle. Maybe we need to go. You know what? Geno can be the mic man for the guy who body slammed Travis Kelce last night.
Oh, man, absolutely.
They could be like a tag team.
Did you hear I'm sure you did on social, they dubbed over Jim Ross's like Hell in a Cell thing? We're like, my God, they killed him. That was a textbook slam, and Geno Smith can be the mic man. He can have Geno's stable.
Yeah.
He can be the manager for it, the new Heenan family or something like that. Absolutely. What a wild game, man. Holy.
Oh, my goodness. At AndyMC81 on Twitter. Give him a follow for your NFL and fantasy football analysis you need. Andy, it was good to see you for about 5 minutes.
Yes. You know what? I didn't touch anything on it. The camera's still plugged in. I don't know, but at least we could still talk.
Andy, we'll talk next week, my friend.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM. I mean, just, you're talking to somebody 1 minute and next minute their video goes out, but you still have the audio. We're a radio show anyway here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Game Night being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins & Sons. Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Business owners and homeowners both trust Jenkins. Call Jenkins for leaks, stoppages, renovations, because Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all. Renovate your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning services, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning services, call 609-641-6262 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Check out what you guys have to say on the other side. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of CIL. Big football weekend here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget, tomorrow, 12 p.m., following the locker room with Billy Schweim, Georgia versus South Carolina, big SEC matchup, followed by Penn State at Auburn on the Touchdown Radio Network with yesterday's guest, Gina Toretta, on the call. And then the nightcap, University of Miami versus Texas A&M. And then Sunday's triple header on 97.3 ESPN. No Eagles game on Sunday, so we got you Bucs Saints. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m., followed by Bengals and Cowboys. And then the nightcap is Bears Packers. All the action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Your home in South Jersey for football.
It's the NFL on Sports USA, and we're in the Big Easy as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to New Orleans to tangle with the Saints. Brady and the Bucs have a trio of deep threats in Evans, Gage, and Godwin.
Caught! Touchdown, Mike Evans!
The Saints will let the good times roll with Jameis under center and Alvin Kamara in the backfield.
Dumps in the flat of the 10 for Kamara, scores! Touchdown!
It's the Bucs at the Saints this Sunday on Sports USA.
It's NFL Sunday on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 12:30.
You wash your hands and brush your teeth, but what about your nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage pulls saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, dirt, and germs, and it's why nose cleaning is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. That's because Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Here's the key point. Navage is good personal hygiene, and it's going to help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Okay, everyone gather around. I have some exciting.
Running her shoe factory, Kendra talks the talk and walks the walk.
We're switching to green energy.
She needs a biotech consultant to erase her carbon footprint.
All operations will net zero emissions.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. An oil change with quality oil like Castrol Edge Full Synthetic can help your engine get more out of every tank. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. That's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, Pete, how's business? It's great. Foot traffic's still way down, but more people are finding me online. Nice. How'd you pull that off? Well, the first thing I did was go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there were for businesses like mine. So I guess there were a lot? Yeah, there were hundreds of local searches every month. So after I saw that, they helped me position my business online to get in front of those customers.
That's awesome. I wonder how many people are searching for my services around here.
Well, it's quick and easy to get the answer. Plus, it's free. Just go to mylocalcustomers.com to find out. If there are a lot of searches, you should definitely get in front of them. If there aren't, no harm, no foul.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
If you're anything like me, you're ready to say goodbye budget stress and hello fall style. That's why I went to Kohl's, where I not only got an extra 15% off, I also got styles from Sonoma Goods for Life for under $9, clothes for my husband from Apartment 9 at just over $10, and boots for less than $43. Or you can save more with the Kohl's card. So if you want more style and more savings, you know where to go. Select styles, 15% offer in September 25th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
On the south side, we got 6 poly panels. And please, make sure they're flush.
Kwame is converting everyone on the block to solar power.
Please get a crew to wrap up 202 South Dwayne.
He needs more certified installers before the sun sets on his business
team.
boom.
Let's pick up the pace. We got a long day.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale September 16th through the 19th and get 40% off paints and stains with prices starting at $26.69. That means 40% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 40% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig reminding you to kick off football season at FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's in Atlantic City. Bet, watch, and win all season long. Plus, enjoy your favorite games from all over the world with 10 betting kiosks, 5 betting windows, 13 big screen TVs, and plenty of comfortable seating. Just head over to FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's to get in on all the action this season. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be enjoyable and fun. Visit FanDuel.com/playwell to learn more. Must be 21 or older to play and present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, let's get to some of your guys' thoughts and comments now. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. Also, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. First of all, shout out to Jeff in Ocean City. Yes, Jeff, you were right. I was wrong. You nailed the under in the game last night. I will say, Jeff in Ocean City, that I will not be deterred in my opinions just because we disagreed, but I give you credit. You were right. I was wrong. Jeff also said I love the over in Penn State Auburn tomorrow. Here's the thing with the Penn State Auburn game, which you hear right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Coverage begins at 3:30 tomorrow. If you believe that Penn State will hit the over, because let me double check here. That was one of my notes I had that I was curious about, because I was talking with Gino Torretti yesterday, and he talked about how he thinks that both teams, their defenses may be ahead of their offenses. And I asked him, I said, well, you leaning under 47.5? And he said he probably would. The problem with 47.5 is this, and this is where Jeff in Ocean City may get this right. Penn State, if they win the game, they're probably not winning a 24-20 game, right? It's, the likelihood of it being that score is not very high. So as Jeff in Ocean City is pointing out, when you look at a game like that tomorrow, you're probably looking at a Penn State 30-17, or on the flip side, an Auburn 28-21 kind of game. That, and also the fact that game could go to overtime. Let's be realistic. Jeff in Ocean City, I'm sure you've probably watched a lot of football in your life, and you know. Games that have uncertainty like to go into overtime. That's why I'm not giving out the pick. I'm more interested in watching that game than picking that game. So shout out to Jeff in Ocean City. Before we get out of here, a couple quick picks for you guys on air here on 97.3 ESPN. I really like the Cowboys team total under 17.5 on Sunday. I like Really like the over 48.5 in the Washington Commanders at Lions game. NFL action. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great week.
Tomorrow on ESPN Radio, it's the SEC opener for the defending national.
All right, for those of you watching on the YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing to Josh Hennig on YouTube. So here's the full rundown for you, brought to you by my friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's in Atlantic City. So a couple of games overall to slate, and we're going to do this each Friday. I don't always have time to get to all of these games in the 1 hour of the show on the radio on 97.3 ESPN. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, this is the chance for you to get my thoughts after the show. So a couple things here. Number one, start with college football. Kansas State, they're a home team, 13.5 against Tulane. I tend to think that Kansas State is a contender for the Big 12 title this year. And I think Tulane is a little bit of fool's gold. So I'm going to lean Kansas State for the second straight week. I think that's a smart pick right there. The game I'm really scratching my head about, and whenever I see a number that makes me concerned, is do I give it as a game I want to pick, or do I stay away from it? Vanderbilt is a 2.5-point underdog at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, for those who don't know, is not a good football team. They're an okay football team. Vanderbilt destroyed Hawaii, and then for one half competed with Wake Forest until they, ran out of, firepower. If Vanderbilt already beat Hawaii in Hawaii, why can't they beat Northern Illinois? That money line is plus 116. That's a value pick if you're someone who's wanting to, look at that game. I told you guys on the air, I don't like the Penn State Auburn game. That's a game I'm just going to watch. I'm not going to play around with. But I do think that game is going to come down to one of two variables. Either Penn State is going to go out there and handle Auburn, like I mentioned earlier, like a, 30 to... See, here's the problem. I say 30-13, but I don't believe that for 1 minute. Maybe we're talking like a 42-20 kind of game. Maybe that's what we're talking about here, or a 35 17 kind of game. App State comes home to play Troy. Now, I know for a lot of people, they would think this is probably a letdown game, but College Game Day is there. The coaches are going out of their way to keep the players focused. I think this might be a good win for App State. I think they're going to outright win this game. I think it's going to be an interesting game to watch. Another game I'll be watching is NC State, Texas Tech. The over-under is 55.5. That means the odds makers are telling you this is probably going to be a high-scoring game. I tend to agree with them. Texas Tech last week scored 30 points with their backup quarterback. Meanwhile, NC State has a guy who is auditioning for the NFL in Devin Leary right now. This is probably going to be a high-scoring game. Now, if it's 55.5, that means the odds makers are inferring that this is a 35-20 kind of game. It's a 31-24 kind of game. So this should be a fun game to watch. I'm very curious to see. Texas Tech's been playing home the last 2 weeks. What do they do on the road coming to the East to play NC State? It's a very different environment for them. Kind of like what, and that's why I'm a little worried about Texas Tech, because last year NC State had a very odd road game at Mississippi State, and they looked horrible in that game. I wouldn't be surprised if NC State runs away with this game, honestly. Nevada at Iowa. Nevada is one of the worst teams in college football, and Iowa's offense is putrid, and the over-under is 39.5. I tend to lean under in that game. I mentioned letdown games. Texas at home versus University of Texas San Antonio, also known as the UTSA Roadrunners. 12.5 is a little too rich for my taste. I think they're going to cover that. It should be a fun game to watch. And then here on 97.3 ESPN, the game we're going to have on the radio, that Miami at Texas A&M game, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins it outright. 6.5 is way too rich. I feel like what the odds makers are doing is they're trying to manipulate people into betting both sides. They're trying to get double the action so they don't lose too much of their shirt on that game. And then the NFL games, I told you guys, Washington versus the Lions, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Wentz and Goff both have at least 3 touchdowns each. And, well, you do the math. 21 plus 21 is 42. And if you get at least 42, you know there's going to be more where that came from. Rushing touchdowns, maybe an interception return for a touchdown. That 48.5 is not looking too good right now. Panthers and Giants over 43.5. I have no idea why this game is such a low score on the board. If you take what both teams scored last week and put it combined, they score more than 43.5. So I tend to lean that way. I think the Rams crush Atlanta. I think the Falcons were very fortunate last week to have a competitive game with the Saints. I think the Rams come out and prove a point this week. So thanks to all of you watching on YouTube at Josh Hennig. Give it a follow, like, and subscribe. Appreciate you tuning into the post show. Before I get out of here, I just want to remind everybody, Monday's show is going to be a normal Monday game night, but we're leading into the Eagles football game. So we're going to try to balance between the Eagles talk and the reviewing of the weekend football conversation on that show. So I'm going to get out of here. I got work to do. So thank you guys for watching on the YouTube channel. And I'll catch you later.